Hey my loves! So a few months ago, I shared on social media that my artist dreams have officially come true. I still cannot believe I finally got a laser cutting machine, and it's not just any machine, it's the Glowforge Aura, the first ever craft laser. This video is sponsored by Glowforge. All thoughts, opinions, ideas, and content creation are my own, so thank you so much again for being here and for watching. Today I thought it'd be really fun to share some behind the scenes from brainstorming, sketching and finalizing my designs, creating an SVG file, using the Glowforge app. So basically my entire process from start to finish. So let's get started. Before I start any of the projects, I love to just sketch out my ideas and brainstorm on anything that I want to create using the Glowforge Aura. So these are some fall themed projects that I came up with. I wanted to make these like name tag coaster designs along with like a fall themed banner. The last thing I wanted to create was like a fall themed notebook as well. So here's a little coaster and name tag version that I came up with. So after I have a good idea of what it is that I want to create, I'll go ahead and open up the Adobe Fresco app, and I'll just take this time to draw up my ideas and sketch out exactly what I want the notebook cover to look like, along with the name tag coasters and the fall themed banner. So here I'm just sketching out the notebook and just figuring out what type of illustrations I wanted to add on the cover as well. So I thought it would be really fun to incorporate different fall leaves, pumpkins, and mushrooms. And during this time, I find it really helpful when it comes to drawing out different illustrations, just to kind of pick out 4 to 5 illustrations and just repeat that throughout the design. So that way I'm not having to think about other illustrations that I want to create and just focusing on these 4 that I decided on. And after taking some additional time, these are the sketches that I came up with. So you have like a mixture of the name tags. So this one is a pumpkin shaped name tag or coaster. It depends on how you are cutting that design. But I thought it'd be really fun to write my dog's name Max. And so here I just focused on writing the name first and then drawing the pumpkin illustration. And then this other name tag design, I thought it'd be really fun to draw like a winter sweater, and this name tag is dedicated to my dog Mimi. Just to keep in mind, whenever I'm doing the final drawings on these, I make sure to have the sketch on one layer, and then I'll open up a brand new layer and do the final designs on that new layer. So that way I'm not exporting the sketched layer along with the final design layer. And then here are some of the final illustrations that I came up with. So I ended up not completing all of the designs because I'm just going to go ahead and copy and paste the illustrations when I export my design to Illustrator. So I like to definitely sketch all of my designs in Adobe Fresco, and then I'll go ahead and export everything into Adobe Illustrator. This is the best way I know how to create those SVG files. There might be an easier way to create them, but this is the way that I found works best for me. So now I brought all of my illustrations into Illustrator. I just went ahead and exported it from the Fresco app. And this is where I'm just organizing my drawings, adding new elements and illustrations that I want to add. So you'll see that I'm now just like grouping all the illustrations, because then I did use the vector brushes in the Adobe Fresco app, and it kind of created each stroke as a different line. So I'm just grouping everything just to make sure that when it's cutting, I want the entire shape and illustration cutting as well. So you'll see that when I did the pumpkin name tag coaster for Max, I wanted to create like an offset outline that I did in Illustrator, and then I brought that back into the pumpkin. So I want this entire shape to cut, and then the name Max will just be a separate laser cut that I'll be cutting and adding it on top. So now I'm going to create that fall themed banner. And I thought it'd be really fun to draw all of my fall favorites. So you'll see like the pumpkin pie, boots, pumpkins, scarves, and I love getting lattes, coffee, teas during the season. And now I'm just going to add the circles in the top right there, so that way I can make sure that area cuts and I can add a ribbon to the banner. And now here's the notebook design. You'll see that I'm just adding some edits and drawing a box around that. I want the notebook to be about 5 by 7 inches. And yay, here are all the designs that I came up with: the coasters, name tags, notebook, and the banners. And I'm just going to now save everything as an SVG file. And afterwards, I'll go ahead and set up my Glowforge Aura machine. And today I'll be using the proof grade light maple plywood. So I'll just go ahead and open up the lid and place my plywood on the tray. So now I'll go ahead and open up the Glowforge app, and you see the wood that I placed on the tray. And now I'm going to import my designs in and just make additional edits. So you'll see that I want to make sure that these designs are all going to be cut. So now I'm just kind of ungrouping them, resizing. So I'll go ahead and take like a few minutes to kind of figure out the layout of the designs so that way I can save as much wood as possible. And afterwards, just go ahead and in the upper right corner, click on print, and then the cutting process will start. And now this is where all the magic happens. I love watching this process, and I think it's super fun just to kind of see the Glowforge Aura in action. And now everything is done cutting, and I'm so happy with the results. I just think it's an amazing process, turning your illustrations into something you can hold. And this is the name tag idea that I had in mind for Max with the pumpkin design and adding his name on top. And I'm super happy with how they came out. I love it. I love these name tag and coaster designs. So after I take everything out, I love to do like a quick cleaning, and I'll just like vacuum and wipe down the tray before I start my next project. And for my next project, I just went ahead and opened up the fall themed banner and just organizing it and rearranging my banner inside of the Glowforge app. I decided to make another banner that didn't have any of my fall favorites, but just more like fall illustrations like the pumpkin, leaves. And the amazing thing about it is that you can also add in like additional artwork by looking through the Glowforge library as well, and just choosing which illustrations you want to incorporate. And for the next project, I thought it'd be really fun to try out the Eco Thin Orange acrylic that's also Procreate as well. So I'm just placing that on my tray. And now opening up the Glowforge app and just arranging my illustrations and deciding on where I want the illustrations to be cut on the acrylic. Once I'm happy with it, I'll go ahead and send this design to print. And I'm so excited. I can't wait to see how it turns out. And again, I think it's so fun to watch this process, and I just love recording it and watching back afterwards as well. And I'm loving how they turned out. Oh my goodness, and love how this banner came out. And along with the sweater coaster. And I love that I can also reuse Mimi's name and just add it on to any future projects that I have. And afterwards, of course, I thought it'd be a really fun idea to cut out more name tag and coaster ideas, and then also cutting the fall theme banner of my fall favorites. And now that the cutting process is done, again, I'm super happy with the result. And I'm just carefully removing the excess wood. And I love how this coaster came out. So with this one, I'm just now taking off the protective sheet layer, and this is the reveal of how the coaster came out. And this one's a Mimi's name tag coaster design. I think I'm going to add a ribbon on the top and use it for like, I could use it as like an ornament or just like hanging on the wall, which is super fun. So for the next project I wanted to go ahead and make was to kind of like break down and show my process on how I make my notebook covers. So with my notebooks, I found it's best to get like a cardstock and cut it down to size. So I'm going to make a notebook that's about 5 by 7 inches. And then now I'm going to use my notebook maker and punch the holes. And that way I can kind of have an idea of how I want it to look and how it's centered. So now I'm going to go ahead and cut additional paper, getting ready for the notebook. And for the notebook design, I'm now using the light basswood plywood and just placing that on the tray. And afterwards, I'm going to go ahead and place the cardstock backing that we made on top of the wood and close the lid so I can now see it on the Glowforge app how it's laid out. And now I'm just going to get like a box and outline the cardboard that I made. And now drawing circles inside the app and just kind of like figuring out the spacing of it and making sure I know where it goes. Honestly, there might be an easier way to do this, but I found that this way just works best for me. And I'm just trying my best to figure out the placement of everything. So afterwards, I'll go ahead and add in my additional illustrations, move things around. And before I start my cutting process, I'm going to now remove the cardstock, and then once it's just the wood inside the Glowforge Aura, then I'll start the cutting process. And I'm gonna go ahead and now insert a clip of the Glowforge Aura in action because I think it's so fun to watch my designs being cut, and I just can't wait to see the final results. So again, like there might be an easier way to go about creating this notebook. In the past, I tried measuring out the distance between each circle, but I found it best to use the camera inside the Glowforge Aura to make my circles that way. And as always, I'm so happy with the results. This is how everything turned out. And I love how the mushroom and the leaf turned out as well, along with the word notes. And here are all the projects that I made today, but I just wanted to go ahead and share that I love that I can reuse the illustrations that cut out inside the banner, and I can put that on a notebook, or maybe I can make like a new banner like this and just place the illustrations on top. And I think it's a perfect way to reuse any pieces that I won't be using for one project, but I can use it for another project. And now for the super satisfying part is to remove the protective sheet layer on top of the wood. So I'll start doing this before I start assembling everything and putting things together. So I found it helpful to use tweezers to remove that protective sheet. So I know that there's a lot of different options available, but I like to use wood glue or hot glue for like a more long-lasting permanent use. And I like to also use Elmer's glue for like a really quick projects that I create, but it just might not last as long in comparison to the wood glue and hot glue. But I think just use whichever materials you have at home and what works best for you. So this next step is totally optional. I love the way the natural wood looks, but I want to go ahead and showcase that you can also add like a nice pop of color to these wood illustrations. I love to use paint markers and acrylic paint. And I think for Max, I'm not going to color it in. I love the contrast between the paint markers along with the natural wood finish. And I'm just adding some glue on the back of Mimi's name and applying it onto the leaf. And I'm just going to set that aside to dry for about like 20-30 minutes. Now I'm just adding Max's name on top of the pumpkin. And again, I just love the way the natural wood finish looks against the paint marker. And here's the finished name tag for Max and Mimi. I feel like these are not going to be good coasters, but it's going to be perfect for place card and like table settings. So now I'm going to color in Mimi's name tag. I think this could be like actually a really good coaster. And I'm just going to color that all in, again, using paint markers as well. So now for the next project, the fall theme banner, which I'm so excited about. When I initially cut out the designs, I went ahead and kept it on the banner shape because I wanted to use it as a guide to make sure everything is centered when I'm gluing on the final illustrations. So I'll go ahead and let this dry for 10 to 15 minutes, and then I'll go ahead and remove the guide. So once everything is fully dried, I'm now using paint markers to color in all of the illustrations. I feel like it adds a really nice pop and contrast against the natural wood. So here's a side-by-side from the guide and now the final banner, and I just love how it came out. So afterwards, I added a ribbon to the name tag and the banner, and I love how this turned out. So now I'm going to use the additional illustrations that I made from the banner and then placing it on top of my notebook cover. And I think it's a good way to reuse the extras. And now here's the other notebook design that I want to make. So I'm just organizing all the illustrations and carefully applying everything. And now I'm just using the paint markers to add a pop of color to the illustrations. And again, I love how vibrant this looks against the natural wood finish. And after the notebook covers are done, I'm now adding the binder rings to finalize the notebook. And I wanted to show this process because I think it's super fun watching it, and I love making notebooks. So I hope you enjoy watching it too. So here's a quick recap of all the things that I made today. I made 2 notebooks, and here are the coasters and name tags that I made. And then here's a fall themed banner that I made of my fall favorites. Yay, and there you have it. I had so much fun creating these fall themed projects, and I hope you enjoyed watching my process from sketching my designs to creating my SVG files and how I use my Glowforge Aura. Let me know if you have any questions, and thank you so much again for watching. Take care. Bye!